Welcome back to IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13. You're watching our special weekend edition, SuperAchievers Making New India, powered by VoiceWhat. In this segment, we are bringing you a conversation with Mohan Ponnada, founder and CEO DeCharge Network, on India's energy transition, the exponential growth of EVs, and how DeCharge is shaping the future of community-driven, decentralized charging infrastructure within India and globally.
India needs 1.32 million EV charging stations by 2030 to keep pace with rapid electric vehicle growth. And DeCharge is stepping up to meet that demand. With a decentralized network of ultra-fast DC chargers and AI-driven placement, DeCharge ensures smart, efficient coverage where it's needed most. Its community-hosted model transforms local spaces into energy hubs, offering new income streams and driving clean mobility. To tell us more, we spoke to Mohan Ponnada, founder and CEO of DeCharge Network.
Mohan, welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow. It's a pleasure to be chatting with you today.
Thank you so much for having me. Pleasure to be here likewise. Thanks, Ritwika.
So to begin with, Mohan, India is in the midst of a major energy transformation. Why do you think this is a very critical moment for the country?
There's no easy way to put this, because we are not going to get this opportunity twice. That's how I look at it, and the team at DeCharge looks at it. The buildings that we're about to live in 2045 have not even begun construction. There's only 5% of EV penetration in the market today, and it's about to get to 15% in the next 5 years. And we are at this very interesting space time where we have the opportunity to build the infrastructure from ground up. And that is to serve a population of 1.5 billion people. So that is the reason why I think we should be very careful in building the infra, and why I feel it's a very pivotal moment in the entire space. Because we are basically, look back 50 years and see if fuel engines, petrol stations were built. It took 40 years to build them. But electric doesn't have that time. We don't have that luxury. So when we build it right, and that's why it's so important to do it right the first time.
Right, and it's amazing at the pace things are changing, but in that context, tell us, how do you see DeCharge contributing to India's evolving energy landscape?
So our motto is simple, right? What we try to do is we convert everyday spaces into economic and energy hubs. And that is the need of the hour. As I said earlier, we do not have the luxury of time to take 40 years to build fuel hubs for charging stations. That's what I mean. But what we can do is have an inclusive strategy where you make anyone with space, a parking space, to participate in the ecosystem and create an economy. So think of gyms, mom and pop stores, kirana stores, movie theaters, malls, any parking lot that has access to energy becoming a digital fuel station. So instead of calling it a charging station, we look at it as a digital charging station. And it's not even difficult. So what we're doing is we are platformizing this whole thing. And if I have to simplify it, think of Airbnb, but for EV charging. So anybody in the world, anybody in India with access to a charging spot can say, look, I'm just going to set up a DeCharge charger and start earning pretty much from day one. So I think that is going to be our biggest contributions to this movement.
So then tell us, how do you see DeCharge fitting into the global energy transformation story?
Well, that's very interesting you asked this question, right? Because the step one has been to see if we can generate enough renewable energy, right? We are still able to generate energy from solar. We are able to generate energy from renewable sources. That's step one, and we have we are confident that we are achieving good outcomes from there. The cost of production is reducing on a daily basis. But the bigger challenge now is how do you distribute that? Are we able to take that energy to the underserved markets where energy is expensive? How do we do that? And is the answer to build very large energy charging corridors, or is it through a distributed, decentralized mesh?
Right.
That's where DeCharge comes in. Instead of building very large energy corridors, which are high capital and slow, what we do is that we allow users and individual people or participants to come into this ecosystem to build the charging mesh, because that is a need for the hour. What this allows us to do is to take the same playbook and paste it across any geography around the world. So we've used India as a playbook for it to test out the whole thing. We've already deployed more than 500 chargers in the last couple of months. It's moving really fast.
No, I absolutely agree. And India is expected to have 123 million EVs on the road by 2032, and that's a crazy number. Tell me, what do you think are the factors that are driving this exponential growth?
That's a fantastic question, and this is something that keeps us awake every day. When we look at these vehicles, let me flip the lens a little bit so that everyone can understand it. When you look at high-density cities, which is where most of the growth is happening right now around the world, and in India, of course, if you look at high-density cities, and you observe two-wheelers, three-wheelers, fleets, okay, these are the biggest, these are the ones that dominate the roads today. Last-mile delivery, mid-mile delivery, and first-mile delivery are always going to be there. They're not going to change. The biggest change you see is going to come from these segments. So instead of looking at them as vehicles, we have to flip the lens and look at them as economic engines.
Right, and just speaking of the trends, if we talk about the EV charging market, that is also growing at a 25% CAGR. So what are the major trends are you seeing in this space?
Two major trends that we have observed. One is that, again, fleets are driving this change, last mile logistics, because the economic prosperity and the overall growth of a specific region is defined by how well it is connected in the supply chain. Because you will be able to deliver goods, services, people, talent, technology. And if there's access, if there's cheap access, if there's better mobility to go to that place, you always see that there's a lot of prosperity. So logistics companies, mobility companies are driving this change from the top down, no doubt about it. We are seeing that happen. In fact, most of the fleets have mandates. When I say fleets, I'm not just talking about the delivery companies. I'm also talking about the logistic fleets. I'm talking about people carriers also. Sure. They are all moving rapidly towards electric because they are seeing a huge economic upside onto that, and also they are driven by decarbonization targets.
Okay.
And to add to that, the second trend that we also notice is that in the second tier who are adopting it faster, people want to have access to charging infra close to them. Sure. They don't want to be going 5 kilometers, driving 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers to a depot where they want to charge. They want it to be available within proximity. So these are the two major trends that we are seeing.
Now I read something very interesting. DeCharge is positioning itself as infrastructure of the people. Could you talk to us about that philosophy?
Yeah, I can talk about this all day long. See, there are always, for every ecosystem, there is a leader, right? And as a country, as an economy today, not just India, as the world, we are used to having some big company or the government come and build infrastructure for us so that we can use it.
Yeah.
Now, more often than not, it happens to be, for no one's mistake, it just happens that way, that it becomes monopolized. Like, you look at fuel, for example, you have a handful of companies in the world who control majority of the transactions that happen on fuel, right?
Sure.
People will not stop moving. Mobility is only going to increase. Why not, as I said in the very beginning of the conversation, this is a time we're building infrastructure from ground up. There is an opportunity. So this $1 billion every quarter from one company in one country is sitting on the table to be distributed if there is enough infrastructure for people to participate. So now we're flipping this narrative and saying, why can people not host the digital charging stations or digital fuel stations? Basically, we are saying own the fuel station of the future. Be a part of this economy so that you get a small chunk of this. So we're truly building it by the people, for the people. When we say it's a mesh, anybody who has access to a small chunk of capital can invest in a charging setup. It's very easy to set up. Our technology is very easy. It sets up in less than an hour.
Right.
And you can be a part of this ecosystem.
Absolutely. Now, you spoke about how DeCharge operates on a decentralized, community-powered model. But tell us, where are the biggest challenges and the opportunities with this approach?
I'll talk about the opportunities first, because we are seeing it scale really fast. Sure. This approach helps us scale fast without the boundaries of geographies, and we are able to achieve a lot of scale. Just in the last month and a half, we were able to reach 500 plus stations across the world.
Right.
That is because we don't need, if it's a centralized company per se, I would have the challenges of compliance, regulation, overheads, rent, land, scouting, all of that in a new geography. I would have to take care of that as a centralized company. The challenge, however, that we see is the education of this. Not a lot of, very few people in the world, in the country, know that a charging infra can be an income generating asset.
Sure. And finally, Mohan, tell us, what is your long-term vision for the company looking ahead to 2030? Where do you see the company in the next 5 years or so?
By 2030, we want to be at around 70,000 locations across the world. And we are not here to sell chargers. This is something that I make it clear in every client meeting, every partner meeting, every investor meeting, every team meeting, because that is not the business. We are an ecosystem participant who are trying to create a decentralized energy network, energy internet, as you call it. So in the next 5 years, we want to build a critical mass of charging infra, and then provide a layer of energy as a service on top of it.
Fantastic. Well, all the very best to you and more power to you.
Thank you.
Looking forward to maybe having another conversation again in the next couple of years.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure having you.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13. We hope you enjoyed the conversations. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.